Pinax TV so near your best for set mo bejimre na ye de update ayensa kanyina ye de ebe bremo live on Pinax TV. That quickly no ye be call Okatakyie Afrifa na so ye na ye de update bremo wo Afija Sector East NPP constituency elections course wa okwa serve omo with injunctions okoye say twitwitwi kakra course so ma amanfo meka ne say omo etugu no so edi ni mpambro kakra ma opira ono ne da screens ne so a owo hospital no na sesi ame no ka say update aba e kiremu a ba sa ko gina mu de ma no se anka onko gina mu emfama no e wo court honum na Justice Circuit Court editu lawyers na nim se da bi omo empene na omo behia se ye di nipadua na anka sabe ba be gina because the kind of case omo edi abeto Justice Circuit Court anima omo edi no ehia se nipa na anka sa o involved no ebeba omo hia representative bia na se obi a be gina na nemu edi ama Okatakyie Afrifa e wo Circuit Court ho enti eno enema ene da due court appearance a course no omo ede Okatakyie Afrifa eto ambulance mu wabra wapura ne kon ne tiri hu nyina papai sebe enya de nika owo hospital omo square go me can say court ne hyaye mo mu de ni free hospital ho eto ambulance mu kopie hospital ekopie mu ewo court ho no mu amafo dodo na na ekasa ede afa ho say na say na enema no omo esi ya no because nko bia begina na nemu a ebia nkanu ano no but then court ne see the magnitude of the case no suggest say o say de nipadua na nkasa ebepio nti enche ho no yebekọ ne yakọ the time om de Okatakyie Afrifa free hospital ho to ambulance mu ede na akọ piem ewo Circuit Court ho yenko na yenhwe we ni emra sisi enti kwese na etwa mu 12 July ewo aguna wiamo ase eho na elections no course a basabasa kakra ene mentimi ho ase kakra course ewo meka se police station ho ema Okatakyie Afrifa mensa na so etimi ekoye hye ema enema bebre na etimi course ho a ema ni praye ye de no call hospital ema omo ehwe ne kakra na ewo se ye de nsem no enso ekwakodan court eti okoserve high court injunction nanka okwa kiremu se abato ne nikwa se ekoso on that particular day no eno enema bentimi ho ase dodo na ekoso a ema opra ye na sisi yi amonfo dodo na de omo adwenkire aba because omo se omo dwe ho omo ntia se obi eda hospital sisi ni tiri ho mo hwe video no ya bandage di tiri ho ama ye the next support nyina e de ama no otimi se nanti ekra ho ne den but then still na court no ehye ema omo ede no ebepie mu ewo court ho no mo a omo ekoto proceedings ne so nti nsem o free court ho ba ye ne de dua yi ye de ni nyina bema mo on a subsequent update ye de ebema mo no ye de ni nyina bema mo na ukọ New Patriotic Party about a course so constituency elections course so omo yi me can say constituency secretary, constituency chairman, treasurer ni omo keka ho ni nyina na some of the constituencies ni bi wo ho a election no omo twam twa elections ni bi mu baby ti say Afija Secretary East ɛhɔ de ya basabasa kɔ so a Okatakyie Afrifa ekopra wo mu no enu say omo atwam bantima nso so ye baby a omo atwam na baby nso te say adanse asokwa no so omo atwam enti on your screen say release a New Patriotic Party no de eba beto mountain. So what are they saying? What is in the release chese eno omo agina so de atwa abato no nsunsanso no mu no ye be kan na ya cheche mu de amamo. Waiting for immediate release, the New Patriotic Party announced purported constituency executive elections in some selected constituencies and refers outstanding electoral disputes to the Electoral Affairs Committee. The New Patriotic Party, NPP, has with immediate effect annulled the purported constituency executive elections conducted over the weekend. Certain constituencies on the grounds that the elections were conducted in flagrant disregard of party directives, the rules and regulations governing the 2026 constituency executive elections, and were applicable citing court orders. Citing court orders. And election na course on these particular constituencies are bebo boso di amamono. And ye may be courso, basa ye be courso, even the 2026 election on betono, and Hunsen can ye be omudi 2 Jan Sana election e besha we and omotoaso eto abano. Enti enu nyina chiremu election omuji 2 mu as party a enye ye. The decision was taken by the National Steering Committee as its meeting held on Wednesday, 15th July 2026, to, among other matters, review the conduct of the constituency executive elections across the country over the weekend. About one or more 2 years, Quesia de Tremono, or Mubetimi Agiatum Mana ye, and I say, Enye, in Jomotanaso, a bobo who other matters arising from different constituencies in Yamukikani in our boom, Editun Seniani Sheye, who say, about one or more editumu set partia, Enye. I said the constituencies in which the purported elections have been annulled are 80 constituencies. Said the media guided 2 Jan, but then they are included in the press release by Bantama constituency. Omo Anyantum, almost a basa to the fufro. If you just Secretary East, also so Omanyantum, almost a bani basa to the fufro. And I dance Yasuka, and also so election no. NPP amanyoko no say omuji tumu a enye yenti honso so omo abo abato no sunsun so na gu. The National Steering Committee has also summoned the Ashanti Regional Steering Committee to appear before it on Tuesday, 21st July 2026 to account for the circumstances surrounding the conduct of the elections in the affected constituencies. Enti National Steering Committee enti ukomu na yesenkomu na ye easy. And as about to a course, constituency election, a course no more, and they were steering the affairs of the election. Ya from say omumra the no Ashanti Regional Steering Committee, International Steering Committee no, and aton sa the afre Ashanti Regional Steering Committee of the 2026 executive and as a constituency executive elections for the New Patriotic Party. And Jomaton said they are from say Omomra headquarters may in Sembiano say a ding and I meant to say ACC one Mia polling stations are hold war any Omupa edi injunctions are so still about one as our course so Emma say Akakoba say or say a trim. It's your muchemwa Omu Emra no mume pie ewo a National Steering Committee in nim said the beya. Omo ebetimi ahwe na omo aka asem no ede afri on say am no ka say constituencies miensa a ewo New Patriotic Party omo abato omo to kwesiada no omo atwam after 70 mo hase bebre na AC ewo constituency and polling stations ahodo en say am no ka say omo atwam omo say abato nsusu aso no omo anyi ntum ti bantama Afija Secretary East na adanse asokwa Nina omo etwa election nim amanfo dodo na say party communicators no omo ebo party na baso because omo emane nkoba se oh ya to awie na oh me de nka mo menhwe ne mfa ne saa ne ade da bi omo so omo atwam. Additionally, the committee has referred the election issues related to Asante Achim Central, along with all other unresolved constituency election disputes to the Electoral Affairs Committee of the National Council for their advice and recommendations. In Jomjemwa, Asante Achim Central, a honso abato a course no, omo ede ehunsunsuanso no, ede akwakoma Electoral Affairs Committee and a National Council for their advice and recommendations. In Jom de ko, so munhwem said the name city any name a course so evidence of misunderstandings any name a course so honi nyina o makunchire ni nyina gu krata so aboabo evidence na no de akakoma electoral committee or electoral affairs committee any national executive council so munhwem na omonhwe na omo advice omo muntu omo for us to say no omo nko eno so yentwam anasa yanyintum na yen declare winners no omo ebedi party nanim e was our constituency or the party wishes to assure members that it remains firmly committed to upholding the rule of law, ensuring strict compliance with its constitution and regulations, and preserving the integrity, credibility, and transparency of its internal democratic process. Ejom chemwa omo party members ni nyina omo more assurance omo shamobo say omo be make sure say party process via election about to be a because we are no omo be fa kwan paso na omo abu amamra na omo e de ato aba no amana yeye we Dankwa Smith national chairman national chairman and Justin Okatakyie Afrifa ono general secretary and ono so de ne de eba enyenim say national elections ne de omo enyanto ye ho nsensem de eno so bebre ti ye de no ho nsem ebi so ebe premo ewo ye subsequent bulletins and I say update ye mu no ye de ho nsem ni bi ebe mamo yenko chema wontumi aso ye na there is fire on the mountain chema wontumi ene Justin Frimpong Kodua sisi amno ka say de ensem bebre na efri honom eba na chema wontumi kiremu a or the showdown kese pa na beba national executive elections na say because on tiase say ono ekọ for the chairmanship position na obi oye current secretary for the party was starting sabotage no as a otwetwe na se atwede on tiase because as a one chairman for bi na aka bom and I say ono no e wona fa ena ono no de oni na fa ena say owo wona se senka mu ke beba kran senka omo disqualify chairman untumi say ontumi nko for national chairman position no in the New Patriotic Party also otwe no ho on tiase na de oye ni nyina ya de a moguo mo amokoto aba no mo make sure say chairman untumi mo beto aba no e de ama no ne nsem a odi tu dwane e beko ne akwakotie ye ba what exactly is the national secretary doing enti chairman untumi nani engine no yenko no he video we ne emra sisi
me pe secretary enti general secretary onko prince general secretary na onya chairman untumi na mso me konko pre me de na so man nkwara no say general secretary man nkwara no say omo ba betake me de a ene general secretary behunu say ene ba bi odi party ne kono enya sa nete wa meto party ni sa hey who person we general secretary na ba regional chairman now taking decisions for region dey ba simile na me metima ya regional chairman na ma take decision for constituency adai anya sa na ye no sa na general secretary person worker miminya obi a me ka party ho asem o na say lesson na ye koninti na general secretary say what has ye say woni afoko woni afane say bute woni bute bo be fa so say say wontumi pe national chairman akonti kwa be so ene ye be fa so asay no wontumi Asante Achimfo me pese me busa say Asante Achim Central for omo sore nko ana da bi mi busa mo omo sore nko Asante Achim Central for chama untumi maba mo be sore akwa ana afi ade na mo blame me ade na general secretary ade ntina wo blame me aya ho ya na say ye de ya aya de ya me kokasa wa radio so but me share party for the American ho asem efiri say mo na mo to aba me nya bibi e bebu party mra so me obi a bebu party mra the steering committee say ukoye constitution no mu a eye 2025 no article 10:5 no a eye omo na hwe say day to day activities omo behwe but enye omo sade say omo twa bibi mu say o pese o twa bibi mu yayi a ye wo electoral affairs wo ho say problems wo ho ne ade yayi a per our constitution you push it to the electoral affairs. That is the constitutional mandate. Because constitution now, a man with the war, a year steering committee, no, there's a higher authority. That is a national council. And to want to mean more time, and sana, what the national council. And just say, Ubu attend we ya. I felt the also memory. Not me ba, what in Kabu attend we, and to me ba, they ba seven and me beka. They ba someone. Utie, a year constitution na ye wono. And my to me bebre. Now so the 2 me at the man is limited. And the powers belongs to the polling station back. And it's a polling station for no per articles and call 2 ye. So one more year na your constituency chairman no what to me say. Obe frɛ sa meeting no. So ofra na one na ne polling station for no so omu sia na so omu ye bibi pa regional chairman me nko mintimi ntwam sa metra region sa metwa omu meeting ne ohyehyɛ ya omu koye yesa omu say obakwakoyi executives nti me ba ya I'm the regional chairman metwamu a enye constitutional.
Stockport, are you waiting for an NHS?
And that is the update. Say I'm no Cassadia. Say my own to me and so Ava on the showdown. Say on Tanaho and share my general secretary. Only a quobi Munina, Moya candidates are moko na Mokakojina a NPP National Executive Election nibi. In the heading and I say opesa ochoche na say actually a race na mukonim. Nti jama on to me on the ordinance mobe to actually more and yadi obepene amasa ansem akoso anase esi na ni nyina mu na meno ka say yedinka the update bremo say the national men can say the NPP omo atwa elections na course no ebi mu omo atwa bi mu yes omo nullify some three of them, 3 constituencies the omo atwam and about de omo e de akakoma the electoral affairs committee any national executive council so munhwem na moma yen updates and as a monkyere yen de mo pese ye yankasa enso so wo party nim na okwa afigya secretary easter sesi ameno ka say chairman ayeto oba ema ne nsa eka abato no wini ye no o se asore ni in enti enya de so obepene ama ansem om de abeto dwa say yetwam ye twa abato no mo de omo mpene omo nte kra say yetwam because see omo to ba awie there is no way some mesa conduct election for e was a constituency hobio. People are asking questions said they are disrespecting the national secretary because as we speak now there is a national secretary Justin Frimpong Kodua ono and NPP national secretary in such a krata na CB national chairman so such a krata na CB then na constituency chairman also want to say yenko ni ntie chairman elect na yemra sisi
ya pesi asansi sudua se eya fija secretary east me da executive body nano as chairman me executives my party leadership ehunu say election ye ni election bia kobiem until the next 4 years ye ni election bia ko until the next 4 years it is me da me team ano as chairman election bia no a mehwe say ebesen asi e was our constituency we mu biem a efa constituency executive if we say Uba Ashanti regional you were a party structure you were a party chairman you were a party first vice you were a party second vice you were secretary you were organizer Yewo youth organizer. Omu nyina ka bom aba besueye in. As I sit here, may a party chairman, Emma Fijaseche East constituency. Sir, obi say on crying, na oye party ni, na bibia koso na ontiasia. Mi phone, mi numu da. Na me pese me ma party nusu ehunu say, ye ba ma ye campaign no, enipa 1,155 and a peer bontis or mobile to Abama. And no represent 92% of the delegates. Yent now se party and fire delegates are almost a madaje and in entity form. Afija Seche East, Asante Chim Central, Mesrameka, Omunye Nipa and Senefija Seche East constituency. It is a sound letter no almost standing by there. Omun can venture Fija Seche Central. If it's a Oma to Omaba, every Yansu ya to the every Omun Jayen, Mienya Juma, Edi Dr. Mahmoud Bamia, ever signed Abaya President of Ghana. And no, and say yes, from ho. It yet ye Jumano, ye shall see every anajuna, ye sway ino, ye gusu ye, a Jumano Sunti, and ye teha and ye nisem 12 Asia. The job, the grounds, Madam Wasi.
Enti the job day grounds or damasi. Yes, enti no the chairman elect for Afija Seche East constituency and ordinance samawa to just say hey penifo na sem na mo kano obi tinkran na obet or the krata tintin base party no election na yeto ye wa Afija Seche East omo twemu a omo de omo ntiase omo nti so odogo bi mpo enu abe ya to oba na wie amade obe wini no wa wini enti omo de ya nadwo na yeso omo in enti omo astarte a omo eye adwuma enti enya de so ombesa gina mu ato aba bio omo expect the next election in 4 years time enya the next ebia 2 months ya yes abeto aba bio da bi na omo astarte se omo eye adwuma de aboa Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia said be obetimi aba aban mu na oba bebo adwuma e de ama oman Ghana on the ticket of the New Patriotic Party enti eno na manfo say na ye de na wo constituency chairman there National Executive Directive ba otimi twam se wo ntiase ma na enye obi tinkran na oka na asem ono wo de on ntiase enti amanfo dodo na omo ani NJ eye nsem a yekokotie nti nyina ye bedi akire ne atie mu nsem no se de be kwakosi se National Executive akasa na constituency executives won ntiase ye behwe ba bia ne nyina ebe kwakopie na ne nyina mu ye be sa to aso ne de update no de amamo Camilla Al Hassan or a 43-year-old Ghanaian TikToker na or the ensemble to John on the screens in the sono or the ensemble to John for President John Dramani Mahama who any NDC and so okika ensemble bre se President John Dramani Mahama sebi okun and entry no de bedi the second coming yi or sanso niema we bre impose pada omo echiche ediama Ghana for flood victims ni ade nyina ade omo de kwakoye rituals bi ni niema bebre ense bebre no keka ede efa minka ne say the sitting president and the New Patriotic Party the National Democratic Congress NDC amanyoko no na ni nyina mu na ababa we yekoche no yekofa no ede ne bae video a ekire say CID to nsa frɛ no ye de be kire mu ye de sa video no be mamo but then before that no Ghana Police Service at the update about they have been able to secure conviction and TCC enra the update bremo baba we okomu 1 year it's say there for 1 year she's been jailed for 1 year and update no Ghana Police Service at the about but then release there are some peculiar updates we are more at the MIN with regards to Camilla Al Hassan no but then na yakwa video here ba what is the Ghana Police Service saying? What is the new update on this particular issue? Yankoni hear video when you mrasi here.
Share Camilla na odi Mahama temno. Share baby oye juma. Baby oye ni indomie no share mon show. Ghana for mon show. Me say gen onyo bia ni working place no baby oye juma no. ɛhɔ na mekyerɛ wo no ɔnyɛ obiara yɛpɛ obi ama no de mahama ta wotum wo wakyi gu hɔ me sɛ girl wei di ne ho baa ɔn citizen president na yɛn mpo a sebita fa hyɛ 2019 yɛakyea akufo ado nsɛm mpo da speaker of parliament agbangbagbe yɛne ɔmo ahyia mpo da yɛntumi nyɛ saa ɔsia mbu adeɛ koraa na saa citizen president yɛmma saa adeɛ no ho kwan bio watoma ase
enti eno eye Camila Al-Hassan baby oye adwuma ewo Cape Coast ena obi ekotwa ho de ba ye kire mu se onye obi a ha na oye adwuma no omumpo de otwa video ni chemu ono mpo na wachia president ensem achia benka na say speaker of parliament mo nsem ne ade omukro mo nya de awuye yi ejuti se amafo dodo na omo ani enhyeda nye ho with the conduct of Camila Al-Hassan as see ama na kwakopiem okojil 1 year no nti eno any update ayede ema but then Ghana Police Service say dem kan to dwa no omo enso e de omo update aba omo add more to this particular case trying to let us know that they've secured conviction but then what led to the securing of the conviction ni nyina e wo hwa yede update no e ba be mamo enti quickly no ye be call Ghana Police Service omo release omo de ba ye na yede eho ensem enso so e de amamo before that ye kokohwe baby a lady no Camila Al-Hassan 43 years oye adwuma ye de no amamo amanfo kire mu se onsam fatampo senka ebia president twema ne ho from abefa no ho according to that video. That is what that man was saying. But then on your screens a releaser Ghana Police Service omo e de abanti e be kan mu na ye de updates no e de amamo. The Ghana Police Service has secured the conviction and sentencing of Camila Al-Hassan 43 to 1 year imprisonment with hard labor by the Accra Circuit Court for offensive conduct following the publication of offensive and abusive comments on social media targeting the President of the Republic, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, and the First Lady Mrs. Lordina Mahama. Yes, the conduct and editia President John Dramani Mahama and in Hokeni Mrs. Lordina Mahama no Omakani now boom. And they've been able to secure 1 year jail term with hard labor for Camila Al-Hassan. The convict was arrested on 9th July 2026 through an intelligence-led operation after the police intercepted a TikTok video in which she made offensive, insulting, and derogatory remarks against the president and the first lady, including threats against their lives. Yes, lady, Ninyama Oyeye, and I did updates no more. The statements were considered capable of disturbing public peace and undermining national cohesion. It's on 9th July and omo ensa kan baba we omo ehwehwe ne nsemu ne video a oposti ye omo ensa ka bi na nsemu a okeka no omo hu ne say nsemu we ase make am say it can distract national security. Ebetimi aha adwen enti na wo se omo ensa eka no na omo hwe na omo ehwehwe ni nsemu. Following investigations, convict Camila Al-Hassan was charged with offensive conduct and false communication and put before the Accra Circuit Court. Although sentencing was initially deferred following her claim that she was pregnant, a medical examination conducted at the police hospital confirmed that she was not pregnant. On 16th July 2026, the court sentenced her to 1 year imprisonment with hard labor. It is in some way the updates bremo. Wamra ye no ye de no ekoye na nka ye baba be sentence no na say judge no enka oba be sentence no anisa e na beto dwa say lady no em say onyim kakra be kaya ye na na agrada say eduru say omo ba be kan nsem no omo ko hwe mu say bia onyim na say onyim omo etaye niema bi say ansa na the sentence ama no because sometimes when the basa the shocks and everything na fe de wakakopon e wo court dem ho na akoye nsem bebre nti ebeto dwa se omo so anyem yoko hwehwe mu wo police hospital na nukure bia anim se ababawa no enyem. Following investigations, convict Camila Al-Hassan was convicted Okay, all right. So on 16th July, the court sentenced her to 1 year imprisonment with hard labor. The Ghana Police Service is also taking steps to put the convicts before the High Court on the separate charge of false communication under the Electronic Communication Act 2008, Act 775. And see, and also another case, omo Edinebeko. Before the Accra High Court on Messadi and Semna Court, because on the first count no pair and some of courts no chese courts no a boss and some new, but then still now they want to probe into it. Make kind of say false communication side of make kind of say some of the board no Messa so Eddie Acco Accra High Court now Omahe say Omo Ebetimi Enya Asemuno Ehu Bia na 80. That is the updates. Almost I to also say the Ghana Police Service is also taking steps to put the convicts before the Accra High Court. The Ghana Police Service reminds the public that while the Constitution guarantees freedom of expression, the right must be exercised responsibly and within the confines of the law. The service reiterates that social media is not a platform for spreading falsehoods, making threats, or publishing unlawful content, and warns that anyone who engages in criminal conduct online will face the full rigors of the law. Freedom of speech, any freedom after the speech, no so yet than tamo. Okay, what I say, because so we can say and your freedom of speech, and you have the freedom to talk on all social media platforms. Now your freedom after the speech cannot be guaranteed. Yentimi nyinamu ma say who can say ni we ubetimi anya ho totoro sa ama na ye debi enti omu kiremu a wo ka won nsem na no ahwemu ye na waka ne se de wo so ka no na wanko kan wi ama menya asem. Richmond Mensa, Deputy Superintendent of Police, Staff Officer, Public Affairs, and edi ensem we baye anasa ne nsahase a omo edi ababe to Ghana fo nyina anim se sisi edi ababa wa no omo anya asentence no na ni nyina mu no Emra CID photo sa edefre Camila Al-Hassan no uza ono TikToker or be call live or followers among for mudi nechi no yodium give it to them nesa anko for na or so live ne penoma begusu na obi e kan nsam kyerɛ nsɛmu wase no or the nsam to dwa update you say CID photo sa afre no na okotena moto so from Cape Coast to Accra yenko ne hwɛ sa video ni emra sese
for we dem misram me real life na me se me da kakra no me da kakra na me di me phone si charge me da ho ana call se ba na call bi ba ye he oba na okasa we kire o se hwehwe me wasi ID office no obusa me se me ni mo ana na me san o se me mbra e fani san police headquarters to obusa me se me ni mo na me san ana okasa me se Mamba ho chino meba be fami nti how many hours na ba no kan say me was central region nti no meba o se mamba o meba be fami na me dey tu mu amam na enko bia me unhye na enko bia say e kwa kwafra me bra ba ko na moto ho no one me ko because time me ko ade an so sa nti de ati no no mpacho me manfo mpenyufo ni na mpacho esra mo me da say because enu mo be better. Say some for Bowra me fee hot time biano. Say a chimina, and this for no. O Makuma told me. Ghana, someone who's an aircon. Sana aircon. Sana aircon. And Sana Contebeja Bibia. I shall miss him to make up. And I must say.
Enti eno Camila Al-Hassan time was CID for etonsa ede efre no ekwan ofa so de bepie mu won kran ene omo bobo mama ne nyina na yekọ ya yekọ ekotie ye no enti ye dey be sorry on this update no tire say freedom of speech and yes ubetimi I have you freedom of speech but then your freedom after the speech is not guaranteed. Ghana TikToker jailed after sharing false news about the president and no BBC also omo BBC NC na omo start na omo publish and they will just try and make look at
we dem misram me real life na me se me da kakra na me di me phone si charge me da ho ana call se ba na call bi ba ye he oba na okasa we kire o se hwehwe me wasi ID office no obusa me se me ni mo ana na me san o se me mbra fani san police headquarters. To obusa me say minimum na me say an. Ana okacha me say mamba o chino meba be fa me. Nti how many hours na ba no kan say me was central region. Nti no meba o say mamba o meba be fa me. Na me dey tu mu amam. Na enko bia me unhye na enko bia say. Me kwa kwafra me bra ba ko. Na moto ho no onne me ko because time me ko.
All right, TF on air phone fan chain na my voice no a breaky kakra yemfidie na ye din kan the screenshots be to so on say BBC News World Ghana TikToker jailed after sharing false news about the president. Enti unse omo edit to say ya na chese ase asem no wa won hye nante ase what I say. Enti if anything that looks like the government trying to sabotage its citizens, you see how the Western world no omo ebe carry no. Enti where BBC omo so reporter omo edeba on Camilla Al-Hassan ne nsemo di tuju asisi am no ka say the 1 year na okom. Eti yes, that is the update. Sisi am no ka say Camilla Al-Hassan say obe starting the sentence no na with hard labor any update Ghana Police Service omo edi amayen. E beto ansem no so na ye di amamo ye ko Asante Mantamu na 150 years of judicial service omo celebrate 150 years ewo Prempeh the second hall ewo Menchia Palace na otumfo say to edi nsem etu twa na sisi nsem odi tu dwa no say wo tu nsem bi mu nkyene efa nsasesem ho ewo Kumase na nsem nyina ne say there are no family allodial lands in Ashanti region, and I say in Asante Memu no, there is nothing like family allodial lands. Yeba yebechiri mu nemo no ye frebi bi say unsufractuary interest. Enti ye di asase ma wa ho hyehyɛ ye sen na tie wontimi mfa hunsansi wo bo say asase we ayabusua we dia asase we miame dia sei na meto no na me dia afebɔ ho nsam bebre ye ba ye be kyerɛ sa abrofo akese mienu nimu ede a kyerɛ mu yie na quickly ne yenko ne ntie asante ne nsɛm odi to dwa with assassin nsɛm ewo Kumase yenko ne ntie ne ne emra sisi
the nature of allodial titles, stool and customary interest continues to generate significant agitation, uncertainty, and sometimes litigation. And I had the occasion to comment when I was at KNUS, where those lands have been bequeathed to the university, demarcated by my predecessor, who then was a surveyor before he became the Asantini. And that was a barter trade between us and the side who are trying to establish that school for us. Some people have the impudence from family heads or something to go and take it to court to ask for 1,000 and something acres of that school. And with all due respect, my learned friends, some people also followed that. I believe that is wrong. First and foremost, it is imperative to state for emphasis that in Asante allodial ownership of land first in the stools who hold same in trust for the golden stool. There are no family allodial lands in Asante. Therefore, families and individuals cannot hold leasehold, can only hold leasehold or usufructuary interest in lands in Ashanti, but never allodial interest in or title. Thus, if a person, a group of persons or family claims usufructuary interest in land in Ashanti, same should be traceable to a stool and that person, group of persons or family should be able to show a distinctive customary function that they play or perform as a person, group of persons or family to the stool, for them to continue to exercise their usufructuary right over the land but not allodial interest in or title. And then the Ashanti Confederacy in 1938 decided that all lands in Ashanti are vested in the stools in trust for the golden stool. This is our customary law, guaranteed by the Constitution. And please refer to warranty notes and you can find it there.
Enti no otumfo say to article course on sem na ode eto dwane nti okiremu a yeni allodial family lands bia ewo Kumase se asase no eyabusua we di afebo enye obi adea eye yankasa ye dia a afebo de pese ye di asase ne ye na ye beye na emom no eye lease te say lease ne dia amount ye bia be ma we bia 90 years na ebi mu 90 years 80 years 70 years se mo fa asase no na munye den munni so by 70 years mo be sa ba renew enti sa ho krata asem no nyina wo hodada enti o me kan say asante hini bia ba san krata asem no ne ade nyina onim ehun nsem a obetimi ahwe ehun sai asase we ye de ma we how many years ni aso ana enso ye enti asase ne nya wo dia e lease ene de amount. And that is the updates. Nana Ede and some etutwa ewo 150 years of judicial service. Ewo Ghana ha omo a celebrity wa santimemo and ode and some no etutwa. Na yebeto ansem no so yebesa ba 150 years yebesa ba otiko koso ho ne nsem bi ode tutwa yebesa ba ho. But then before that no Dr. Lawrence Tete ed nsem bi atutwa about in crime ha say and crying how more 10 crying kasa as and crying for more sisi mo adan ni ade o se mo ahwe ya mo betena ha saa na me kan say from phobia free baby aba beji mo sase na boso enti sisi a odi ka say o say the current state of the Gadangbe communities in Accra is warning the indigenous people risk of losing their place in the capital. So if urgent steps are not taken, if we do not stand firm, we will allow foreigners to take over and destroy Accra. Ejo chemo amount for free baby bebre na no ada ye the update bremo na chiremu say amount for they are just entering the capital. Unhu baby omu free but unhu baby even those who are making us omu wo omu bi mpo edi omu ye adwuma bia enwuma ne ade no they are taking over Accra. Oko baby yesisi adan atenti ordinary citizen Ghana ni nkrani onye sika mfa nko han bi na mom obi free Lebanon, obi free China, obi free Obekono sa adan atenti osu high rising buildings ni nyina residential for residential purposes no mo na abeje dan no de aboso okọ the other side of it so omo ense dan ni hwe omo ba ebi mu sesa de ne nam kwa mu unhu de beye no makosi structure bi o baabi na omo tim unhu de beye no makoji baabi na omo te. Dr. Lawrence Tete say ya hwe ya ye betimi losing crime to foreigners. Yanko ni ntie Dr. Lawrence Tete ni emra sisi
Ole akashi gan ke wo domo shojo ba oba hani foreigners aba fit gan hawo many call to many ye politics, many ye leadership, many ye medical school, many ye law can be gamela je be ku ne ho je na kan kun kaka to doctors say gameji doctors kaka to lawyers say gameji lawyers kaka to engineer gameji engineer. When you youth you have a responsibility you can say ani ye are school drugs ebano yeseke homosexuals about fetal life all those habits need a few of many ye gan pupa no ne hin efin wo chake kuni wo bomode no fe no ne kese na mo baba anti dede say my name anti dede say my name.
And that was Dr. Lawrence Tete and then in just say the youth mo sorry na mo makoko school mo didi juma bia nyuma no make sure say you are taking steps ebema mo are reclaiming the land ebema mo are reclaiming chrono say eyemodia Dr. Lawrence Tete e de futuo kese e de koma enkranfo nyina say untie na mo hwe na mo ngi chrono say emfansi ho na nyesa foreigners e ba baji chrono e de abosom. Na enumu ena 150 years of a judicial service our Ghana has say omo celebrity was Santimemu Prempeh the second hall Menshia Palace no o 2022 den sembi edi tudwa na ne sem odi tudwa ne say chief justice be hwedin a ase yen hyeda mfansa asesem emfa emme ha omo bebre sa especially e was Santimemu say insa say ene ho nsem nyina omo emfa nko ha court say court nkoka bi mdebi because of how they are able to handle their land issues because oba e be din ka kire asase no ye de ama ono nya wa wo dia and e be hwe mahu say who is the right owner of the land and as a when at least no eye ne dia ansa na ye be ton a ya ton oyo ohene na ton asase rough yetimi una sempaboa enti otufo chemu a omo atimi make sure so omo be handle omo land issues very very well enti wo hwa omo se na mfa ensasensem enkokot bebre ana omo oka se de be yo be hu say yes indeed e ban sasensem e wo Ashanti region ana say Asante Maimu a omo ebo omo homodin pa yenko ne ntie otumfo say tutu na yemra sisi.
Sure, my Lord Chief Justice will agree with me that from Asanteman we are not overburdening with Chief Justice issues at the Supreme Court because we're able to resolve them here amicably and everything is fine. No. Your workload from Asanteman, we let us do it, and then the others were confused and settle it with it. And yet, ladies and gentlemen, today is rightly a day of celebration. We celebrate an institution of chieftaincy that has proven resilient, adaptive, and indispensable. The custodian of land and culture, the first responder in community development, and the moral voice involved in seasons of national crisis. We celebrate a Supreme Court that has, notwithstanding the burdens of a young democracy, built a body of chieftaincy jurisprudence of genuine intellectual depth.
Enti on eno eye otumfo osetutu otekoko so nsem na ye kokotie na sisi am no ka say de o de atodwa se oba eye asantemamu a asase ho nsem ne adede o motimi ahwe a omo handle ne kama enti oba asantemamu a omo hyeda mfa nsem bi saa emfa enkokot enti eno eye otumfo osetutu nsem a o de etodwa ebi na yakwa kotie no na ye betoa update ne so na ye de amamo na saying ebeto dwa se eye 11 billion Ghana cedis na sisi amino ka say Accra to Kumasi highway no aban aboka ewo ho although yen share dan start here adwuma botini bia ewo so na ene na muntintan fidie no so fa ha na we kan na nam ha na we so kan enti 11 billion Ghana cedis Accra Kumasi highway na almost sisi amino ka say asrafo mugu ekwan ne so omu eyi kwan na tom no omu kiremu a 11 billion Ghana cedis na akom no say eh yes asempo na 11 billion Ghana cedis na be wie kwan ne de na ye de Ghana sika nyina na akwakoye da bi controller and accountant general department omu edin kiremu aba omu kiremu a say 11 billion Ghana cedis no sebe enye ni nyina na omu aspend assistance now on the Accra Kumasi highway, and you should disregard some of these speculations and some of these information and nam amount for kabina amount for so HH there be now mudi nchremuaba it is out 11 billion Ghana cedis say assistance now Accra Kumasi highway empomoto krent mi mfaso sesi ameno ka say no moto ntimi mfaso mani nyeye no almost spend 11 billion Ghana cedis ewo ho a enchiremu ene yede ba be mamu nti obeje brena yede enchiremu no e de amount so on your screen say release controller and accountants general department omode aba yede emu ensem no e be mamu we also press release na o head in the crate say yes they want to clarify the false information that is being circulated out there. Circulation on the accounting treatment of Accra Kumasi Expressway funds. Enti omuchemu the accounting treatment, how is that 11 billion Ghana cedis, how is it being treated in the books of that particular project? Ekosono enti omu eba be mamu nchirimu. The attention of the controller and accountant general's department has been drawn to claims circulating on social media suggesting that government has spent almost 11 billion Ghana cedis on the Accra Kumasi Expressway project, even though the main construction works have not started. And Johnson Atibi said they didn't catch him on Matibi. Say amount for Kikasa must spend 11 billion Ghana cedis. Ewo Accra Kumasi Expressway. Ayeba beye yebe no less than 2 hours. 2 hours 30 minutes. Between 2 hours no do Kumasi as a 10 terms so na wo kona oba. Na mo chemu a ejuma botini na nkasa ne yenhya ase na amanfo keka must spend 11 billion Ghana cedis ewo so dada omuso nsa akabi nti omba be chichim de amamo sei enti na 11 billion Ghana cedis ne wo ho no na omo spend ye sei na tie yenkoso ne yenfa update no the controller and accountant general's department wishes to clarify that this claim is based on a misunderstanding of government accounting procedures. And the government accounting procedures no ebimu entiase ye what I say public sector accounting we public sector accounting now better and you maybe say ase but then on say in a layman's view no fa krata no say actually 11 billion Ghana cedis ohun say you spend here we This can we Controller and Accountants General Department, they want to school us on public sector accounting. The Accra Kumasi Expressway is one of government's flagship infrastructure projects to avoid the delays, funding challenges, and cost overruns that have affected similar projects in the past. Government acting through the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund, GIF, and only a friend of GIF, a bit more kind of GIF fund, by a GIF, established that Accra Kumasi Expressway Limited, a special purpose vehicle SPV, to implement the project. The company is classified as a state-owned enterprise for funding and accounting purposes. Or the Jumedi no share a Jumeko Binsa, a state-owned enterprise, a special purpose vehicle. And the Accra Kumasi Expressway Limited, a special purpose vehicle. And Jom Semwa. Omo ase there be a company be eno ye Accra Kumasi Expressway Limited eno a special purpose vehicle SPV omo chemo eno na ase kwan na ye be yi no omo na behwe am make sure say the bibia ni sikasem totoye ni ade no nti won say ye be a company sana limited by shares omo ene behwe am make sure say ehun totoye sikasem ni ade nyina omo ho de be fraba. So the securing of funds will go through Accra Kumasi Expressway Limited. Omo ho na sikasem no befa na omo aba account for it. So entiremu on that very first part no eno no the accounting processes and then the funding omo ho na be free. The company can go and borrow from somewhere and come and do the project. Ombeka ko bobo sia free baby and e be project and I say sika no be free baby and e dia ba because it is because a state owned enterprise no aban no ebebo ne ho ka ebe aban no be man sika na omo ba ama ba account e ju che wan say we no enye highway authority for asem grad there be enye roads ministry for asem there be o mate adwuma ko bi omo na e ba be hwe se kwan na e be yi because it is one of the flagship projects for Abino Sisi Ameno Kasei. Following Parliament's approval of the concession, government earmarked proceeds from the annual budget funding amount and mineral royalties in the 2025 budget to finance the project. The approved funds were transferred from the consolidated fund into a dedicated Bank of Ghana account. The Controller and Accountant General's Department wishes to emphasize that these funds have not been paid to any contractor or spent on construction works. They remain in the dedicated Bank of Ghana account pending project execution. A jump shemo as 11 billion Ghana cedis no omu eyi free baby a bit say proceeds from the annual budget funding amount and mineral royalties in the 2025 budget to finance the project. Sa baby mienu ne yi sika no free yes e de ba be ye kwan no. Na omubo account bi ewo Ghana omubo account bi ewo commercial bank say ewo Bank of Ghana say omubo hwe na omude say sika na to ho nti ho de be yi sika no de free. And say ameno ka say the money is still remain and as sika no da so da sa particular account nim ewo Bank of Ghana omu emfa omu ensa enkan. And it is pending project execution. After say asrafo no be yi kwan na to mawie no na omo ede astarte omo ntua contractor bia aka sesi ameno kasa yi enti e basa adwuma na ehya ase a na omo ebe make sure say omo ebe starte eye adwuma no ede omo sa keska no. The ongoing right of way clearing by the Ghana Armed Forces is a separate preparatory activity and is not being financed from these funds. The ongoing right of way Ghana Armed Forces asrafo separate from the main work. So the preparatory activities, it is that particular one is separate from what is currently ongoing. The Controller and Accountants General Department also wishes to clarify that the government operates at 3 levels: central government comprising ministries, departments, and agencies; MDAs, local governments comprising metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies, MMDAs, and government business entities comprising of state-owned enterprises, SOEs, where the Accra Kumasi Expressway Limited falls. And many different entities and a year. Now, Ghana, the Expressway, Accra Kumasi Expressway Limited, falls under state-owned enterprises. Under government accounting rules, every transfer of money from central government, that's the consolidated fund, to another government entity outside the central government accounting group (MDAs) is recorded as grant expenditure in the books of central government as a grant revenue in the books of the receiving entity. Omo ediska ne beko aban ediska ema state owned enterprise and as MMDDAs. Metropolitan assemblies no any district assemblies sika every consolidated fund mu ekwo mu a aban no be recording no in their books as grants to these state owned enterprises, and as these district assemblies and MDAs and as metropolitan assemblies no be ko mu ho aban no be recording no as grants na MDAs and as metropolitan assemblies and as state owned enterprises no almost be recording no as grants and as a revenue. Grant revenue so that is the first part of the transaction, and I said that is the first part of the bookkeeping aspects about that particular money. No, now ochemwa under government accounting rules, every transfer of money from central government group MDAs is recorded as grants expenditure. It's from a buying honor a grant expenditure, and in the books of the central government. As a grant revenue in the books of the receiving entity. This is a standard accounting treatment and does not mean the receiving entity has spent the funds. The same principle applies to transfer made to institutions such as the district assemblies, common fund, a get fund, and the National Health Insurance Authority. So books they've recorded it. And Teresa Oma spend this ikano because Omo receiving it is coming to them as a revenue. In their final account and as in their accounts on best prepare subsequent accounts on prepare no uko say there is an expenditure bi wo ho na so 11 billion Ghana cedis ni wo ma, then we have to go to Accra Kumasi Expressway Limited and ask them say sika no den na mo de ye enti omo pese omo kire mo say don't get confused bro for tintin na omo training nyina kire mu a don't get confused who say Accra Kumasi Expressway Limited are recording 11 billion Ghana cedis in their books as grants revenue. Ababeka Omonsa. Yes, Abeka Omonsa, but then there is an account our Bank of Ghana, Sikani Dem, pending project execution. So don't get it twisted. Says Sikano. So far as I'm recording as revenue, it means I must spend it there be. In their subsequent accounts, so expenditure 11 billion Ghana cedis, then you can ask questions to get a breakdown of that amount of money. And you almost say you should disregard all the speculations. It is therefore incorrect to conclude that because of the transfer appears as expenditure in the accounts of the central government, the funds have already been spent on the construction of the Accra Kumasi Expressway. And the other part of it is also saying that in the accounts of the central government, in the accounts of the central government, expenditure 11 billion Ghana cedis as grant to Accra Kumasi Expressway Limited. Say the central bank is going to record it as expenditure. So we are pending the project execution, which will warrant Accra Kumasi Expressway to also record that money received as grant revenue as expenditure on the project. Central government, as it stands now, it is an expenditure to them. They've released the funds from the consolidated fund, from the mineral royalties. It is gone. Now it is with the Accra Kumasi Expressway Limited. It is with them as revenue. So that is the two-way record in accounting. Way has to record it as the giving end, and this one has to record it as the receiving end. So now it is left with the Accra Kumasi Expressway to also do justice to the money when the project starts. Every Cephas A. Dosso, head of public relations for Controller and Accountant General Department, and that is the update I did. But then I'm sure say after when you know when you enter kakra 11 billion Ghana cedis is still sitting somewhere in an account with the Bank of Ghana in the name of Accra Kumasi Expressway Limited. And that is the update. Yede mamo. Yebetro ansem no so na yede update no amamo William Atuguba or ye retired Supreme Court Justice. Na or the same bia betudwa. Or see as it stands now, one tiase say Zaneto Rollins onya ministerial appointment bia on tiase. Amanfo so bisa question say aden appointment no na be ma ye hu say o ye bibia na say den ase bi mu hu ne say nka na dwuma o ye ne de nke no ano no because people started tagging her say nka defense minister bi de nka mo fama no because who say from the background ne papa ne ade ka yem for defense minister fama no but as it stands now ye mami onya ministerial appointment bia and ebi mo so hu ne say okay before I be mamu the speculations around this whole thing no yentie justice retired William Atuguba if you are near be tiremu de nti na manfo hu ni say yen pese be ma no ministerial appointment bia yentie video in embrace here.
Unfortunately Mutala Mohammed and Manu Boma have passed on. But there are others. Somebody like Zaneto Rollins. She's not a politician. She's a woman of the people. I've been following her activities. I don't know, I've never spoken to her, never met her. But I'm convinced that that's the kind of politician people should aspire to be. Up till now, and that's why I don't get involved in political sector. I don't know why she's not yet a minister. I hope by saying that I've not destroyed her chances. From social media, it seems there are, sometimes they even announce her as Deputy Minister of Health. I say, oh, she could even be the substantive. Then something, but I think there's something that, why not? Why not? Such a woman of principle, of dedication of integrity. Why not? You have another person. I've never seen.
Enti eno ene yakwa and such a woman of dedication and integrity. Why not? Aden and more no a ministerial appointment bia eti no Dr. Zaneto Rollins and former Justice of the Supreme Court William Atuguba ede ne ho ensem ebebe tutwa no na osanso etoa so ede ensem bebre ede etudwa me ntiase but then you heard this particular video na yemra ne nyina former Justice William Atuguba ne nsem bi ode tudwa na way he's talking about the parliament ye konintie ne nsem ne yemra sisi
Honorable Majority Leader, is that the case now? Debatable. Thank you, at least. Well, that is not it. Truth is one and indivisible, except you are talking politically. You know it. I see this parliament as standing for something else than the interests of Ghanaians. That's how I see it. Some of them are good, but others are immersed in loyalty to the party and to whoever for the time being is president, maneuvering to progress along the political ladder, irrespective of honesty, fairness, good service to the people of Ghana. That's what I have seen, and I've said it. I'm not saying these things out of spite. Not at all. But it's necessary. Because the ship of state has tilted very, very ominously. Happily, as I say, all is not lost. There are some people who are good politicians.
enti Justice William Atuguba and ordinance metu jo chiremu Parliament aye hu ni sesi no as they are standing for something different other than the interest of Ghanaians. Sa no hu no na nka parliament de nka bibia mbeka bia Ghana force say aha Ghana for moti ha say so the interest na ohunu no ohunu say they are standing in for something different rather than the interest of Ghanaians. Eje no enso ye Justice William Atuguba retired and na ode nsem atudwa na osanso to aso kire mu say a small country like Ghana, we say Ghana country ni sha the number of MPs are war in parliament no. Although we have 276 parliamentary parliamentary seats in the parliament. On Tiase Aden how he presented this one.
I also want to acknowledge the stance of Chairman Sabonsu, who said that it is not necessary to create more parliamentary seats. But I don't know why a small country like Ghana, the number was 100 or so, or up to 270. For what reason and purpose? What is the true benefit to the people from this kind of thing?
Enti ochiremu 276 no emfaso be pa na de Ghana for eno former Justice William Atuguba retired Justice William Atuguba ochiremu emfaso bia ni so because me can say the former and I said the EC or the betu just say hu hia mpo say ye be create more constituency say they aka the order that no so still na omo NTA and omo create be e de ka hu to the tune of 276 never so ben pa and e de Ghana for and former Justice retired William Atuguba and e de nsem we to dwa na ye beto ansem no so na here the updates no e de amamo. But before I back on, you former retired Justice William Atuguba. Then some of the two job because utiemwa or who say emphasis be so from 100 to 170 something 76 to 276. And then idea or who say emphasis be any so enti ono de enya de say obeso society ma bi so unu tie ni kasa ni mu a na otimu se papa no or the abufo na kasa because nsem ha no. Especially on the fact saying can nipadudu say at least the Ghana tokro bia or say can puntu say I very very rapid obia ho tono inso sam akwan ni niam nko obia ho tono but then ohun said they are more relaxed because omko tena parliament where djuma omu die no is more of their you see ebi papa no who said they are serving the interest of their parties. Say the beya party no still na Ghana for benya gidie wo mumu na omasa to aba e de amomo enti asem no eye no more than no omo they don't want to go straight to the point. Enti onu hu ni say sa anema na ekoso ne de enya de a ebeboa Ghana ba bia amana yeye enti per what he say na nka no de hu ni say yente number ne so yente so we should start merging some of the constituencies. They should start merging them. We should go back to the 100 that we're having, the 170 or 167 that we're having. We should go back to that because numbers in the door so. Ayeti obiaka emu obiesika on what purpose? Ejuma be na onu hu ne so omoye. Enti no former Justice retired William Atuguba ne nsemo a ode etudwa. Enti se am no ka say de ade a papa no ni buofu pa wakeka ne nsem de a kire abamu mpanifo kire se enema bi wo ho amo ya enya de e fa ne kwan mu enye sa na wo se ye no on a part of Senator Rollins so say mami no wo abo adwuma oye adwuma amana ye because people have the feel say ebia our presidential ambitions bi won ani so enti say oba be ye minister ebeyi no ababonten kese because we say omo as omo yi omo anim e wo NDC mu no say wonya minister na ebia wo executive bia wo bo adwuma wo baby most of them hwehwɛ omu nyinaa hu say they are all ministers. Omo didi animu ni ade no omu nyinaa ye ministers. Enji say Honorable Senator Rollins nso be gina bi na onya ministerial appointment no start so obo adwuma ani beba no ho. That is the kind of speculations people are putting out there. Enji eno enema papa na kire mu say dabi maame no safata some man appointment. It's nema miensa eno kasa fa ho Dr. Senator Rollins Honorable asisi am no kasa onya ministerial appointment bia. The second part of it the parliaments of Ghana who said they are serving a totally different interest rather than the interest of Ghanaians. And also 276 no parliamentary seats no yentiso across a small country like Ghana. And a papa no edi etu dwanti. That is the update. About one some no so na yedi amamo. Yabeko Toko K2 South municipality of the Volta region. A porter obia oswaniema ewo Volta region ho abranche yedina kom 10 years imprisonment with hard labor by the Toko Circuit Court in the K2 South municipality of the Volta region for robbery. Man jailed 10 years for stealing iPhone 12 in Aflao. And I can't say Aflao. It's papa your screens you see. Ya channel. And I jail no 10 years. Na ebimuso omonti ase e den ye jail in 10 years with hard labor. Esa ka ho. Enti ye be ko update ne so ne atutu ne sani abasa. You hear the reactions. Among for some more kafa particular issue we hu the amount. Man jail 10 years for stealing iPhone 12 in Aplao. So that is the head in a amount. The update are ye the amount ankasa and ye the amount no. Na ninyina say head porter has been sentenced to 10 years imprisonment with hard labor by the Toko Circuit Court in the K2 South municipality of the Volta region for robbery. Enti almost wako wiade and omo edina ko 10 years. Amount for be say omo enti ase na ti omo enti ase no ye de ni nyina e baba be ma. The convict identified as Akpalu Prince pleaded guilty to the charge and was convicted on his own plea by the court presided over by Justice Ofosu Behome. Na ye de entansa ne born no oji tumu say yes indeed. Sa boni we e ade a wadi boni we enti omo ejina so sentence. No prosecuting Chief Inspector MC Ray Pomevo told the court that the complainant is an officer of the Ghana Immigration Service stationed at Aplao and resides at second low cost in the municipality. The convict, meanwhile, lived at Garapan, a suburb of Aplao. Etiochemwa, the Nefunaira, immigration officer. Immigration officer, and Ononefunaira. Ote second low cost municipality ho onwangasa baby ote Garapan the owi afon no emom et Garapan suburb of Aplao. According to the prosecution, the incident occurred on July 13th, 2026 about 6 p.m. in Ave Maria Junction, Aplao. The court heard that the complainant was standing by the roadside waiting to board a motorbike while holding her iPhone 12 valued at 3,600 Ghana cedis when the convict suddenly attacked and snatched the device. Na abrantie unsura dia immigration officer oshe uniform asemo eti o say original ekwan ho obefa tax obefa motorbike akofie na abrantie yi ekoto share ne so oje ne phone edi efri ne nsem eti se ameno ka say de abrantie no oje phone ne de koye eno na ema no koji tum wo court se oje phone no enti ye jailing no. She subsequently raised an alarm prompting members of the public to pursue the suspect. He was eventually arrested a short distance from the scene. Enti yem se oje phone no otisi se odwane na otiatia mu na amanfo ekoyo omukochi abranti na nitiye amanfo monsa nkeka no. A search conducted on the victim on the convict led to the recovery of a stolen iPhone which the complainant identified as her property. Enti omo hwehwe ne ho no muhu ba bia phone no de share no mu yiye na complainant ne yitum se eye ne dia. The suspect was handed over to the police together with a retrieved phone, after which a formal complaint was lodged. Chief Inspector Pomevo said the convict admitted to the offense in his caution statement during the police interrogation. Following investigations, he was charged with robbery and arraigned before the court. The court subsequently sentenced him to 10 years imprisonment with hard labor. It is here I say, Abrantia no yedeno akwakotum 10 years with hard labor. A man for your Montiasie Ghana Mrano say no more yeno. A woman say obi phone and a branch ye na say and a mamrano or more a yeno. A man for Eddie Omunsam Atuja on this particular issue. And see ever corner him not yet the home update no Eddie Amamo as to what are the reactions of some people on this particular issue. And to X Twitter where Bright Simmons also on Tiasie now no dear or Jimrani D or Jimrani Tum. But then let's go through what Bright Simmons posted. I say I completely believe in due process. I completely believe in rule of law. I completely believe in prosecutorial fairness, etc. See, Baimu, Mengana say courts and some the justice system in Ghana no onu the otitum completely. But it is really nauseating when elites talk about such stuff only when one of their own is in the grip of the law. So who is mpanimfo omo eka sansem wei omo keka ho nsem kire se ebia bibia si na asamo anka asem ni ye monko monka say omo timi kasa eka kasa menka say bail conditions ayede ma obi no ewo so bail conditions ayede ma wei ewo so dodo na ade na wei de ewo so ade na wei de ewo so chen wei. It only happens when it is one of their own. It only happens when it is one of their own. Meanwhile, for small people, used iPhone 12, 3K, 3,000 Ghana cedis, 10 years in jail. For big people, hundreds of millions of Ghana cedis, nole prosecute. And to a tremor on Tiasie, say, obi ko wie sika botene kese ewa ban mu oko wie sika ne so na yesi amano no le prosecute no to unwilling to pursue as asem no emfa kwan mu enti adwen say ye ni akire because ohunu say it is one of their own enti asem no ye ni akire mpo ne akodi asem no court da bi na obi ko wie bibi kitikiti bi na ono de yere ne come straight 10 years adan omuso ni kamafo ana ti Bright Simmons and ono de ose asem no ehwehwe na so enti omumra na omumeka bi na ohun se de omu esi ayi omu niema because onti asese mpanimfo bi buga na faso. The last time I was thinking about it, say yes, we owe me 51 million Ghana cedis ebeye ensemble bre wo Ghana ha sei, but say abey normal ye bosika 100 and something million 101 million Ghana cedis 50 plus million 70 94 million Ghana cedis ni e boboso abeye normal wo Ghana ha sei obekom no na nipa na still omoda so ne nam na okoba oye de ope odidi na oda na ubo homodin ko wi obi bode wo ni mfikyire a obete how many years I did be bound. It's in na manfo do na omo eka ho nsem omo kire mu se enya de a etwa kwan mu na ensem ni bi ba sa mom yenhwe na ententem so omo ho bom mu no yenhwe ne enka omo asem na yendi omo asem enfa emom. So this is the update I did man jail 10 years for stealing iPhone 12 in Aplao. So that is the update that we have for you, because and someone so see a crowd see the plea deal aba ukoji sikano and as sika bi from sase a wa utimi about bontin betim so okay enye hwe metua enti moma memre na mentua na nipa no tifie no otua scan kakaka. You know, some of these things are laudable because obi ohwa documents are omudi bedi djuma ama sa sika no yatua no, some of them some way somehow will be forged. ABI the documents in beba no nipa no wahwem all right enema bi na am say answer da anko ye wan tinema bi ase no makotu eska no eno nko se wo hwehwe nsem no se sa na tie a ebia nipa no enye willingly say obe spend the aban sika to that tune ti omo no sa no ebia plea deal no otuetu eska na fine ebi won so a they refuse to even pursue the case and only not prosecute no eno ye voluntary dismissal ye twa asem nim ye nie kire bio enti obi o ho a genuinely obetimi de no ho ache no because ebia enye ne mfom so ba ne nyina mu no aban mu panyini de ye the document we have to anymore you have to go through very well before any payments are made because was obetimi aye hyedache enti Bright Simmons according to Bright Simmons no ose mo hwe nsem no mu na mo hwe de we a mo besi aye no e de afa enti eno ene Bright Simmons ena ne nsem a ode etutwa ena ye di bi mamo no enti aha aye Pinax TV ye de updates bebre ena ye de mamo enti wo beti akwa achi na de opese wo hwe anase wo pese otie mu bia you can leave your comments under the live then we will do justice and read it to you. But then I have to go. But then before I'm a let me do this birthday. My own grandpa. Yes, on your screens. My grandfather, Nidin. Elder Amwakwata. On your screens, Elder Amwakwata is 80 years old today. Happy birthday, Grandpa. Nyame onto nkwanem onshaw. Elder Amwakwata is 80 years old today. Happy birthday, Grandpa. Nyame onshaw. We every onana no nyina ho na omo ede emaw. Gift nyame che so eka ho no. Ose yen wish happy birthday. Nyame onshaw onto nkwanem na oma obibia woye bia enkoye onana no mo emra no mo meto ento ato aso awonto ato aso be se 9 enum asa na nyame beto ne nsa afro ato ne nsa de afro. Happy birthday. God richly bless you, Grandpa. Eti no Elder Amwakwata, my own grandfather, and ni birthday and ye celebrating no Elder and that was screen so a very fine grandfather. Oh, is your grandfather this handsome? Anyway, I Pinax TV, ye the updates be bring and ye the premo, ye the more ABC ewa here.